Afternoon world, it's the 10th, it's Friday the 10th of September 2021 and I'm at the end of a week of writing and I'm going back to doing readings as of next week. My beginner's course in astrology will start in 2 weeks time. Full details are on my website, or if you want to know more about it, it's a 39 week course comprising the signs and houses, sun, moon, ascendant, midheaven, and then the meaning of each individual planet, and then the aspects, before we go on to an intermediate course where we look at things like the nodes, the asteroids, astrocartography, synastry and composites and relationships. It's all on the website, or you can email me at steve@stevejudd.co, and I'll send you all the blurb. Meantime, let's have a look at where we are right now. Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn, slowing down, and he's going to be moving forward in about 5 weeks, 6 weeks time. Neptune is smack in the middle of its retrograde period. The Sun will oppose Neptune in the next 2 or 3 days, so over this coming few days there is likely to be a degree more uncertainty, confusion, possible fatigue than normal. Uranus is retrograde in Taurus. Long-term retrograde is going to be going on really till the new year, or close to the new year, making us reassess large-scale value systems. Saturn is in Aquarius, retrograde until mid-October, another 4 or 5 weeks, and it's still strongly squaring Uranus, in fact getting stronger over the coming few weeks, and it is making us question a lot of things about the way we live our life. More on that in a video I'm going to do after this one. Jupiter is in Aquarius and it's retrograde, slowing down and starting to move forward again in about 3-4 weeks time. For those of you with clear skies, when you look to the south at midnight, due south, you will see Jupiter pretty spectacular. It's strong, and to the right of Jupiter, slightly lower on the horizon, but clearly evident, is Saturn. And if you've got a small handheld telescope or even a good pair of binoculars at the moment, you can make out even with a very small handheld telescope, you can make out the ecliptical shape of Saturn, because the rings are side on. So we can see, with a good telescope, you can see the gap between the rings at the moment. Jupiter and Saturn are giving us a really good light show at the moment. Mercury is going to go retrograde. It's in its Mercury retrograde shadow. I find it interesting that all these planets are retrograde. I forgot that Chiron is retrograde as well. All of these planets are retrograde or about to go retrograde. All of them. All of the planets are retrograde, bar Venus and Mars. And there's a story there as well with Venus and Mars. We'll come to that in a moment. The Mercury retrograde, he's not going to go retrograde for another 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks yet. But he's well in his retrograde shadow. And when he starts going retrograde and comes backwards and stands still, he's going to be opposite Chiron for about a week and a half. So there's going to be a lot of words spoken over the coming couple of weeks. There's going to be a lot of hot air and a lot of unrealistic promises and assumptions, whether it's by individuals in terms of their personal lives, expectations of themselves or of others, whether it's by politicians. Safest thing to say is, as I would have said a week or so ago, is just don't believe everything you're being told at the moment. There is so much, not so much hype and spin, but more unrealism. I'm going to touch on this in the video I'm going to do straight after this. Venus is about to change sign. It will change sign within the next 8 hours, 9 hours, and it will move from Libra, where it's been really comfortable, into Scorpio, where it's not so comfortable. But you know, one of the things I've learned a lot about just doing this teaching over the last year and a half, more and more I'm beginning to realise that astrology is evolving fast, and the meanings of astrology are evolving with it. And I'm sort of outside the loop of conventional and normal astrologers. So they don't have me in the conventional astrology magazines. But I'm beginning to question the importance of planets, not so much the sun, moon, ascendant and midheaven, but the planets themselves in the signs of the zodiac. I'm much more interested in the houses of the individual chart that they occupy, and I'm certainly interested in the aspects. As I've said on my course, and as I will say again, and I'm going to do a video on this in the next couple of weeks, when you look at a horoscope, it's possible to set out the horoscope and then take away the signs of the zodiac and even the houses of the zodiac and just look at the aspects between planets, because these are the real tools, these are the real defining tools that set out character analysis. This is the blueprint of potential that the horoscope really is. And now we've got Venus moving into Scorpio, Mars is approaching the end of Virgo, and I'm about to move into Libra. In about just under 4 weeks, in about 3.5 weeks time, there's going to be a new moon in Libra, very strongly conjunct Mars. There will be a 2 to 3 hour period, I think it's around the 6th of October, where the sun and moon and Mars will all be at 13 degrees of Libra, and that's going to be an interesting and probably quite difficult time for a lot of people, right in the middle of a Mercury retrograde as well. So where we are at the moment, of all these retrogrades going on, and the only two planets that aren't involved in retrogrades, Venus and Mars, both changing signs. Venus moving into Scorpio, where it's not that comfortable, Mars moving into Libra, where it's also not going to be that comfortable. These are sticky times, and it's not sticky times in terms of major new problems or challenges. It's sticky times in terms of uncertainty about who or what to believe. And it's not deliberate malfeasance, it's not deliberate attempts to hoodwink populations, whether at the individual or the collective level, because the powers that be just aren't that intelligent. They're really not. Instead, it's a kind of almost connivance by the majority of people who just want an easy life. So they go along with the norm. And where all these planets are retrograde, we're all at some deep level, mainly unconscious, it has to be said. We are asking ourselves, well, how do we want our lives to be? How do we want our planet to be? How do we want our collective community experiences to be? How do we want to live in and around and with each other? Lots of changes going on, and from now until, well, at least until Mercury goes retrograde on the 27th of this month, so at least another 17 days, there's going to be a lot of misunderstandings, miscommunication, mixed signals and uncertainty. So don't go making radical major changes, of course, in your personal lives. Look particularly into the area of mid-Libra in your own personal horoscope and ask yourself, do I really need to make big changes in this area? Probably not in the short term. Okay, I'm going to do another video in about 10 minutes time on something completely different. Catch you in a bit. Catch you later, world. Bye.